Hey, everybody. Yes, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris Schaefer, how's it going today?
Full name, yes, full name. Only refer to me as Chris Schaefer. Good, Jason. Good, Jason. Hoping to get on first name basis someday with you, but I'm willing to wait. I'm in it for the long haul. Happy to argue a little bit today. Sounds like you're a little spicy today already, which I'm gonna enjoy. It's always fun when I get a little bit of flavor with my Jason each week. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to know how's the in-home gym going? You crunch any new PRs or hit anything exciting lately? Maybe a new bench press.
Bought a new treadmill last night on Amazon. $650.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to come install it, and it's going to all happen in like 2 to 3 days. Pretty good company. Yeah, pretty impressive.
That's amazing. Yeah. Your clothes will look great hanging on that.
Wow. Okay, that's great, Chris. So, what's new in your world?
I bought one of those bikes once, and that's all we did. Like we just hung clothes on it.
Yeah, you're not a cardio guy. No, you're a muscular guy. Yeah.
So,
how are things down in your world? Down in Texas?
It's hot, Jason. It's
it's hot. Yeah.
104. I saw that you're in the same situation as me, maybe just a degree or two cooler, but it's hot summer. So
you know what I do, Chris? I wake up very early now, and I get outside around 6 to 8 in the morning, get some fresh air. And one thing I did not learn until this summer is that just because it's 104 degrees, and that's what it says on the weather listing and all that, it doesn't mean it's that temperature all day long. And
that's true.
I'm serious. It really isn't. And like before 8 a.m., it's in the high 70s, or sometimes the mid 70s. So it actually feels very nice, and you can get some fresh air and stay inside during the day. That's kind of what it is during the summer. Chris, that's what it is.
Oh, I know. I'm a morning outside kind of guy myself. So I
What do you do out there?
Appreciate that. Well, I'm outside at 6 a.m. every morning, usually, weekday at least. Now, because I have to walk to my office, so I have a little stroll to my over to my shop where I'm at now, and I enjoy all the birds singing in the morning, and it's so quiet. It's nice, just me and the deer. So that's nice. And then I have CrossFit, which you don't want to talk about that. So
would love to talk about that.
No, you don't. No, we have something much more important.
Well, we have an audience that you better respect, Chris.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to hear about that.
Do you have any exciting reviews to read, or are we just jumping into the show?
There's a lot of them out there, but I don't have any on me.
Any compliments? Okay.
There's a ton of them out there, but I don't have any of them on me.
Okay.
But if you guys want to leave more, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, if they're good.
But there are a ton of them.
You got to get Jason's attention. So, leave Jason's name all over it, and he'll probably pay attention. That's
wait, good idea. There is one that left my name all over it.
Oh, see, I told you. I
will read that right now.
And while Jason is prepping that review, because you are eagerly awaiting that, I want to remind you about our sponsor, Optio. Optio.com/PSP. And today, we're talking about the 3 rules of management. And it's all about prioritizing your management of Google Ads, putting first things first, putting second things second. And I want to tell you, Optio is such a perfect fit for this kind of thing, because all the things I've told you about with Optio, it comes down to this. All the optimizations, all the recommendations that they put in front of you are based on a prioritized system based on cost impact. So whatever changes they think would be an improvement to your campaign, they're going to prioritize the ones first that make the biggest cost difference to your account. So Optio is all about prioritization, all about putting first things first, most important things in front of you first. It's a wonderful system. There's a lot of softwares out there. This is the only one that we recommend because it's so easy to use, and it's the smart man's system. You like to be smart about your your Google Ads management, make smart decisions, this is it. Manage Google Ads in a smarter way with optio.com/PSP. Use that link for a special 8-week free trial.
Thanks, Chris. Now, how about this review? 5 stars on Apple Podcast. We appreciate it. Thank you. Really good. Really good most of the time, says Jason Rothman. They quoted me. And they said, in all seriousness, this is a really good, detailed, up-to-date podcast. I do the marketing and advertising for a small business, and this podcast has given me so much information to work with. I think one time a few weeks ago I said, we're really good most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it. Thank you. I feel energized to, now that I know that people love me, I feel energized to continue. And Jason, I'd like to introduce you to
the rules.
The rules.
The
3 rules. The rules that you must follow, according to me, of Google Ads management. And we're going to go through them 1, 2, 3, based on priority, based on what you should do first. And as I love on the show, old school, just, remember we used to have debates, the great debate. I miss that. Those were always so much fun. So I hope you disagree, because I love to argue. You're an excellent
well, just to start, I don't like the word rule. I don't like rules with Google Ads, Chris. It's so dynamic. Every account is so different. How are you going to put rules on this relationship, you and me?
Well, I want to know where I'm wrong. I want to hear a second opinion. Many people don't really want to jump in the ring and combat my authority on this rule system, but I'd love to hear it from you. So here's the idea. So I'll give you the quick pitch. There's a lot of distractions in Google Ads. Okay, there's a lot of things, from the pop-up recommendations to all the little buttons and knobs and features that you can do. There's so many things that you can do. This discussion is about prioritizing what you should do first. Okay, what the first things that you should be doing. So I'm not talking about first as in like building a campaign. I'm just talking about the management part. The campaign's already running. It's been running for a little while, either a long time or the past 3 months or something like that. Management, optimization. That's what we're talking about.
Are you selling me on something? It's been running for a little while, either a long time or just started. Would you listen to the way you speak?
Okay.
Please, what are you talking about? Are you talking about new accounts?
No,
it's been running for a little while, either brand new or a long time. Something.
No, I didn't say that. Say? I don't think I said that. I don't think I said that.
You want me to buy a car right now? What are you talking about, dude?
It's not brand new.
It's not brand new.
It's not a brand. We're talking about accounts that have been running.
It's a used car? Okay.
For several months.
Pre-owned? Certified? Pre-owned?
Several months to, a couple of years. The point is, it's past the ramp up time. Okay. It's into the point where you have data and you're making deeper decisions.
You're actively managing it.
Actively managing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, hot shot here. What is the first rule of Google Ads management?
Okay. The first thing you should always focus on when it comes to prioritization, number 1 in Google Ads, are bids and budget. So rule number 1, bids and budget. I'm not going to say bids are first or budget is second. They're together. They're of equal weight, bids and budget. And I want to hit a little deeper on each one of these points. So I have some sub rules to these. It gets pretty complex, Jason. You might want to take notes. First thing is bid and budget. So here's one sub rule. Have a budget, set that budget, and leave it. Okay? So we're talking about distractions. You get distracted. You get distracted by, I didn't spend as much yesterday. I didn't, or I'm trending a little high now. I'm trending a little low, back and forth things. I'm talking about,
yesterday was a good day in Google Ads. I'm going to double our budget today.
Right.
Yesterday we didn't get any leads. I'm going to shrink our budget by 90%.
Right. Exactly.
Ooh, I've seen some bad behavior out there, Chris.
Distracted. So rule number 1, don't play around with the budget too much. Set your budget and leave it.
Okay.
And that's, as far as the budget goes, that's really where you should be. You should be steady and moving forward. pick a number and stick with it. And when you do have to change it, there should be some solid basis for that, some kind of reasoning. But
set
overall,
it on a. Let me give a sub rule to a sub rule, Chris.
Okay.
Set it at a monthly basis. On a monthly basis.
I like that.
I love that. I love that. It gives you the discipline. You have to have the discipline to stick to a full month, but you have the flexibility to see what happened during that month and look at the data, impression share, and all that, and see what you want to do for the next month. So set it for at least a month.
Okay. So there we go. So far, no pushback. You like it? This is a big.
Of course,
big
I like it.
Here.
It's a good idea.
The very first thing I said was set a budget and leave it.
I see a lot of people make bad decisions with Google Ads with their budgets. Absolutely horrible decisions. And I'm going to add on to that, pausing and unpausing your account. Chris, I've been seeing people pause their account because they had a bad day, then turn it back on because their last Monday was a good lead day. This is the very wrong thing to do, Chris.
Or the worst thing of all, we had such a good month, we can't take any more leads. We're going to pause the campaign.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to take all the work that's happening right now and put it in
the whole reason we got
jeopardy.
Leads.
Right. We're going to put it in jeopardy by pausing it until our salesman can address those leads. And maybe those leads aren't as good as I thought. And now we've screwed up and the pipeline is empty when we're ready for more. It's such a bad idea. So rule number 1, prioritizing,
Discipline.
Set your budget. Don't get distracted. Stay on course. We get priority number 2B or priority number 1B. I don't know. Anyway, you don't want to bid too high and lose potential clicks. And then the inverse is true. Don't bid too low and not be competitive. And I'm going to give some specific numbers here.
And I'm going to encourage everyone to ignore them.
Because what I want to say is, you say, well, Chris, how do you know something is bidding too high? Well, that's very hard to do without one specific metric, the search impression share loss due to rank. Okay? I'm going to say for most of the time, most accounts are not just printing money and making money all the time. There's a lot of up and down. Most of the time, accounts do not need to be at a 10% search impression share loss due to rank. Right? That's probably a little too heavy. You're pushing the engine a little too hard.
You're hardly missing anything because of your bids.
Yeah. So that feels like if you cannot be at a 10% and be a little lower, hopefully, maybe 30s, 40s, 20s, at least, leave a little room. That feels like a safer spot to be. And then on the opposite side, so this is rule number 1C, don't bid too low and not be competitive. So if your search impression share is 90% lost due to rank and you are getting less than 50% impression top percentage, this feels like you're wasting time here. You're just putting along, not really being aggressive enough. You're not being competitive. You're not really getting out there and being visible. What are you doing? This feels like you've let off on the gas too much. So would you agree? Set budget, set bids, and keep the bids somewhere between 10 and 90. You need a mid-level kind of thing.
Would I agree with that? Would I agree with that? I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I'm not going to agree with that for my rules. Okay. I'm not going to follow your rules when I'm managing my accounts. Are you crazy?
Okay. Well,
no, I don't. That's not something I would look at, Chris. The impression share numbers to me are different than the position percentage numbers. So I would go about doing this the same. I would go about the same kind of goal, like being not too aggressive with your bids, not too wimpy with your bids, but I focus on the absolute top percentage column.
Even over, you prioritize that metric over the search impression share loss?
It's a good time we had this conversation and could speak openly to each other. 5.5 years in and 300 something episodes in, we can finally have this conversation man to man and be mature enough to look each other in the eyes and tell each other how we really feel. But no, I don't focus on the search impression share columns other than budget. Budget one guides how much we could spend, and rank, it is what it is. I do everything I can by default to get good quality scores. And my bids are determined by the position and the conversion data, not the search impression share loss due to rank data. 90% of the time, every now and then we bump things up because we want to see less loss due to rank, and it guides us. But more what guides us day to day is the position data and the conversion data. Chris, don't get red. Don't get angry just because someone disagreed with you. It's a free country. You have the freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. And I can say what I want here, Chris. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing that you can do about it. And you just have to accept that. And once you accept that, you'll be able to live your life in a freer, more open, less burdensome way. And maybe you'll feel a weight come off your shoulders.
Well, I'll tell you.
Is it okay that I did? I mean, that's just the way I do things, Chris.
Well,
I'm not a big impression share column guy. What do you want to do about it?
I feel like positions are such a limiting amount of information about where you are competitively, because is it not true that you could have a 60% impression top percentage and have a 80% impression share loss due to rank? So effectively, even though you're 60% above organic,
I've crunched the numbers. That's not possible. Those specific numbers are not possible. No, I'm just kidding. My point is, Chris, I think whether you look at it from and by the way, I don't look at top percentage. You have to listen to what your podcast partner says. I said absolute top percentage. That's a column I like looking at for positions. How often are we showing absolutely number one? And I can dial that up and down like a gauge. And I think, Chris, if you're showing up number one 80% of the time, I don't think you're going to be missing out on impression share due to rank 60% of the time. I think they correlate with each other, Chris. I think the more aggressive you bid, the more often you're going to show up number one, and the less often you're going to miss impressions due to ad rank. I think they just correlate with each other. And so I think we have the same goals in mind. And I think if we were managing the same account, we would have close to the same bids if we had the same goal. It's just you're looking at impression share loss due to rank. And you basically, how often did you not show up number one, if you will. That's a little bit of a spin on it, but if you will. And I'm looking at how often we showed up number one. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of like they go along the same course.
Let's say you have a highly competitive campaign that you're running, car insurance in the U.S., and you almost never get first position, which is very likely. For all the competitors that you get. Let's say you're targeting nationally for used car insurance.
Which I do all the time.
Okay. So
when's the last time you ran a car insurance campaign, Chris?
Yeah, I know. Never. I know. But I'm just imagining the reason I'm not is because they're probably absolutely terrifying.
Right, let's say you run a moving company, Chris, and you want to...
No, don't hijack my no.
It's okay. You have car insurance for total loss. And if they steal your car, you can cash it in.
So
get paid back.
If I have, let's say 5% absolute top, I mean that gives
5%
you
5%. Oh,
percent absolute top.
You're only showing up number one 5% of the time.
Right. Yeah. Which is very possible for something that's so competitive. There's going to be some big players in that game. You would really need to look at search impression share loss due to rank, wouldn't you, to kind of understand how much market you're missing, and you would base that. No,
I'd still probably at that point I'd look at top percentage instead of absolute top percentage, and maybe try to be there 20-30% of the time if it's a car insurance thing. But the thing is, Chris, I don't run car insurance ads. I run ads for service companies looking to get leads, and even though a car insurance company is that, it's a different field. There's like a few big players and they advertise a ton. And anytime I try to work with a small advertiser in that field, it doesn't work out. So I can't remember a time where but it's been years where we don't show up number one at least like 30, 40, 50% of the time. This 5% number one thing, we're not dealing with that.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of the kind of accounts you're managing, the kind of situations you find yourself in. I'm not saying your focus on impression share loss due to rank is invalid. I'm just saying I find absolute top percentage should be more helpful for the kind of accounts I run, where we get some meaningful data there. And I do the same thing you do. I dial up and down and try to find a reasonable level when we start. in the first few months, but I just do it with that column. The one thing I will say about either column, but I think more so loss due to rank, impression share loss due to rank, is that I could see that being a tough column to gauge things with, depending on what's inside of your one campaign, because there could be different levels of competitiveness with your keywords. You could have a brand ad group, a competitor ad group, high funnel ad group, super deep funnel ad groups, and it may be hard to judge that number at the campaign level, but it's not to say you can't judge it at the ad group level.
Okay. Stepping back, do you agree? You see in the notes the other two things that I'm going to talk about. Do you agree that I have the priority correct on the first things first of what you focus on to get it set right, and then you move on to priority 2? Do you think bids and budget?
It's tough. It's tough because I like what you're saying with budget, and I like what you're saying with stick to a budget for at least a month and run consistently for a month and stick to a schedule and a budget you like running for that month. I have a little bit of a problem with prioritizing bidding over search term quality. I think you are so good at what you do. You're so dialed in on search terms all the time that I think you're underestimating how much of a problem that is for people out there in the wild, all these savages trying to do their
broad
Google
keywords.
Ads accounts. Yeah, just crazy search terms. Now, but the thing is, you got to prioritize something, and bidding is super important, and it's kind of a cow and a steak thing. It's like, did the cow come first or did the steak come first? It's like, do you focus on bids first and then you focus on search term quality? But search term quality is super important. So then do you focus on that first? But then bids are also super important. So I think you have to choose one, whether it's the steak or the egg or the cow or the lion, whatever it ends up being, or the elephant or the peanuts.
Would you
or the ostrich or the egg, which came first?
So
or the peanut butter or the jelly?
Okay. I think the original
or the podcast or the ego.
I think the chicken and egg analogy is probably the one that you should keep. The other ones kind of fall through.
Well, which
especially
one
the
came
steak
first?
And the cow.
That's the problem with chicken or egg. People don't listen to what you're saying. They just start thinking, "Oh, what did come first, the chicken or the egg?" That's what you're thinking about right now. And which did come first? We don't know.
No. Now I'm thinking like the steak and the cow thing just completely. Now I was thinking about how bad that was, instead of where I should be thinking. Like, of course the cow came first.
Of course it did.
Okay, so let me ask you this: would you agree that prioritizing bids and budget would be most important because you can equalize and much more quickly stabilize?
I'll say this.
You can stabilize. No.
I'll say.
Hang on. No. You can stabilize bids and budget faster than you can stabilize quality of traffic. Therefore, I put it as priority number 1 because it's easier to get.
I'm gonna agree with you and say it should be priority number 1 in terms of your thinking, because search terms should always be right. That should just be like by default. And by the way, you'll always get there. You're always going to get there and see what you're showing up on. You'll get there.
It's a continual
sure.
process. Yeah.
The other reason I'm happy to say bids and budget are first is because with search terms, you can have 70% horrible search terms and 30% good search terms, which a lot of advertisers do when they don't know what they're doing, and still knock the pants off of TV advertising or radio or print. You can still do a lot better than those old channels on search and billboards and whatever, even if your search term ratio is horrible.
Yeah.
But if you mess up your budget and pausing all the time and running with too small of a budget or too big and then trying to fill it in, or changing your bids all the time, or you just have the wrong bids and you have not over 90% loss due to ad rank, or you have showing up number 1 less than 10% of the time and you're not getting the traffic, that's worse than getting some good traffic and some bad traffic. So I'm happy to say bids and budget should be the first priority, because you can't get good results if you don't have those things correct, but you can get good results even if your search terms aren't that great.
Okay.
Because some of them will be great. Yeah.
All right.
You really think the cow came before the steak?
Well, where did the steak come from if the steak was first?
We'll think about it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Priority number 2.
Priority number 2.
The second rule. The second rule, or are we still on the first rule?
This is the second rule. Priority number 2. The second thing you should focus on is the quality of traffic. Okay. In other words, when I talk about quality of traffic, what I mean is the actual traffic that you're getting, the search terms that you're getting, are off topic. They're not people that you want to be spending money on. If you have keyword A, it's bringing in a long list of searches. Just like Jason said, some of those searches might be okay, and other ones might be completely off. Your goal is to fix the quality of traffic with negative keywords or changing match type.
Forget negative keywords, Chris. But people should just forget negative keywords. It's like trying to plug holes in a dam, and you're never going to get there if your keywords are bad. I really think it's valid to say that when you get bad search terms, you should never ever think about a negative keyword unless you have your keyword column pulled up from the attribute section of your columns on your search terms report. You should always know what's driving that bad search term, because if it is a bad keyword that's driving a bad search term, just go fix the problem instead of adding a negative keyword week after week after week forever. I think it's just worth saying, Chris, that
that's a good
bad
point.
search terms don't come from nowhere. They come from, it's like the cow doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from the steak. Bad search terms don't come from nowhere. They come from the keyword. And that's true. They come from the keyword.
They come from, that's true. Okay. Well, hey, that's something the keyword came first. It's not a question of which one came first, the keyword or the search term. It's always
the keyword
came first. Yeah. So you're right.
Or did the responsive ad come first with the keyword? Let's not get into that on this episode. Just for once in 2022, let's not talk about responsive ads. Yeah.
It's still too soon. So yeah, you're right.
What about the priority here, Chris? What's the rule? What's the rule?
The priority.
The rule.
The rule is priority number 1 is bids and budget. And the rule number 2 is focus then on quality of traffic, negative keywords, changing match types of the keywords, and as you said, Jason, go straight to the problem and fix the keyword itself. Modify, add one part, add a near me to it, add a geographic reference.
Do you think we should work on the ad copy though?
That is not in my top 3.
You are just so sick of hearing that. That's where I think this is coming from. You are sick and tired of hearing people talking about testing landing pages, people talking about overhauling the ad copy, people talking about having meetings to work on the messaging for their ad copy and keeping that on brand and getting that right when their search terms aren't right. I think that's where this is coming from, Chris.
Yeah.
You're kind of very logical. You think you're rational. You're probably not, but you think you're a rational guy. And you're one of those guys, everything's in a box, everything's organized, everything's in a box. And you like things in a box, and you can't, there's no point to rationally talking about websites or ad copy or demographics or schedule or turning off Tuesday afternoons versus Thursday afternoons because we saw one thing a date on Tuesdays. If the search terms are not good, if the traffic quality is not good, because no matter what you do with that other stuff, if your traffic quality is not good, things will not improve beyond the extent that your traffic quality lets them. Is that where this is coming from, Chris?
Absolutely. And you make a good point by mentioning what's not in my top 3 list of the most important things to manage. It's not landing page. It's not ad copy. It's bids and budget, quality of traffic, and then not going to say the last thing because you have to listen to the ad read before you hear that. But
I can't do this. I can't do it, but I really would love to see an experiment be run where you show up on perfect search terms with horrible ad copy, like an ad copy that says the worst moving company, or an ad copy that says starting at $10,000 per move, or just crazy stuff like that. And then watch the power of the search terms still drive good results.
They still click on that first
ad.
I think,
what is it?
And
like
they
30,
still land
30,
on the page and
30% of people in this country can't even read, like 30% of adults. So what are we talking about ad copy for? I think these days it's bordering can't, but they can't even read. So what does the ad copy matter? They do a search, they click, they do what you want them to do. It all comes from the power of the search terms.
Search term. Yep. The keyword.
Especially with the descriptions. What are we doing with these descriptions, people?
I tell you, if there's anything I put the least effort into, is descriptions. I grab some boring 180 character
I don't, Chris.
off the website.
I don't. You know, I'm all about ad copy these days. I'm going to be
Oh,
talking
listen
about
to
it
this guy
coming out.
reverse.
No, seriously,
He
I am all
realizes
about
people
ad
are
copy.
listening.
No, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's seriously, like, I've just had it up to here with search terms. There's nothing else I can do to improve at search terms. And all the responsive ads, I'm getting used to them. I'm getting used to the format. I'm liking it. I'm trying things out. I find the ad copy can be very powerful, but that's not to say that on the lower end, when you have bad ad copy, it's not to take away from the fact that search terms drive performance. I'm just a little bit beyond that these days, Chris. I'm a little bit elevated from here, and now I'm kind of looking at the next level, and I'm really, really diving into ad copy. But the point is still that the ad copy doesn't have to be good or great or even good for things to work really, really well because of the power of search terms. And you just don't want it. You don't want to hear about that ad copy if your search terms aren't correct. And I get it. I'm the same way. Especially if you've got those little dynamic things in your responsive ads, a dynamic keyword insertion, and your keywords aren't correct. Now you're just doing silly things.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Because then you're showing,
weird keywords in your ad copy.
Moving truck, instead of like a moving service. Yeah, I mean now you're just making bad choices.
So what else is there to say about prioritizing the quality? What should people take away? Like, what's good quality? What's bad quality?
He broke.
Are you able? What do you do when you see bad search terms with conversions? Because I think some people out there are going to see those. They look at their search terms and they go, this is low quality. Chris said rule number one is getting the search terms of good quality, but I like my cost per lead. What do we do there, Chris?
Oh, well, that's, I don't think I know where you're going because, I mean, that's like a whole nother topic. What do you think?
No, you're right. I threw out a ball. And you shouldn't have swung on it, and you didn't.
Yeah,
so the counts 1-0. No, you're right. My apologies. Yeah. But Chris, what I want to get at is like, what is quality? What ratio of good search terms to bad search terms thinking in? My one problem with this priority, Chris, this rule of focusing on quality is that quality means different things to different people. It means something different to someone who's in Google Ads every day and knows the way different keywords perform, generally different search terms perform. But it also can mean something totally different to a business owner that's had horrible experiences with TV and radio advertising. He goes, whoa, I paid that little amount to show up on that search, even though if it's a higher funnel one or medium, and they go, I like that. How do you judge that quality? And the other thing is like, what if you do want to show up on different keywords that are maybe Google's allowing more search terms to come in these days? It's such a different era. That's my one problem with focusing on search terms like this. Is there a black and white thing where it's like, no, these are horrible, these are acceptable? Like, how do you think about that?
I mean, in my head, it'd have to be an entirely different discussion because I feel like there'd be a branch episode about this because we could do a thing about the 3 levels of quality of traffic in Google Ads because I think there are 3 levels.
Don't get me started on getting all the parts of the buffalo here, Chris. I'm going to make branch episodes from rule number 1, rule number 2, and rule number 3, and that's what we're going to talk about for the next 732 weeks.
But I really do think we could do the 3
we could.
different types of quality because there's different type. When I say quality of traffic, it's really subjective to what your strategy is. It cannot.
It shouldn't be the rule shouldn't be to focus on the quality of traffic. It should be to make sure you're getting the quality level of traffic you want, or getting the kind of traffic.
3 words. See,
wow.
three words. Jason, I'm very.
Because you're rational. Because you're in a box. Everything's in a box.
Don't
put me in a box. You can't put me in a box. You know how much this podcast will suck if we put it in a box. Hey, Jason, at the 3-minute mark, we're going to talk about this. That really happened, people.
No,
it really happened.
Yeah, it won't. It won't happen.
My one problem here, Chris, is that quality is so subjective, and and things are also so dynamic inside of Google Ads. I mean, Chris,
Yes.
I'm seeing people run broad keywords. It's working great. I'm seeing people then tell me like, oh no, actually it wasn't going good because we were I mean, it's a wild thing going on in that. Yeah. Here's my problem, Chris. Honestly, I know what quality is, you know what quality is, and I'm so sick of people telling me that Google Ads was working with low quality stuff and it doesn't work with the high quality stuff. There's so many people playing games out there on people's minds, and people then have played games with me, and then I fall into it because I'm a nice guy. But you know what happens under the shell here? I'm not a nice guy. I know what's right. I know what's wrong. And I'm going to start telling people what's right and wrong, Chris, because it's for their own benefit. And if you want to show up on crap searches, even if they convert, those are crap conversions. It's not rocket science. It's just regular science. You got to show up on searches where people are. That's what it is here, Chris. It's showing up on quality. Okay, quality is not subjective. I've been dealing with too many dumb people, Chris. Quality is not subjective. Quality is quality. And
you just said quality was subjective a second ago. You're changing your mind. I know,
but I'm very impressionable when people are in a room with me. But the truth is, I know what's right. I know what's wrong. But I also have this problem where I want people to like me for whatever reason. And it leads to some bad situations, Chris. And I'm working on that. I'm working on myself.
So you're saying we disagree?
Chris, I have a pineapple on my desk, Chris. I look at this all day, Chris.
What's that say?
It says,
what does it say?
Stand tall and wear a crown and be sweet on the inside, because I'm too nice to people and they misguide me and I let them misguide me and then I misguide them. And the problem is, Chris, I'm smarter than everybody. Okay. I'm smart. No offense. You know it. I know it. Everyone, okay. But it's not, it's not a problem, but it is a problem because, Chris, I just let people misguide me, and I'm retiring from that. I am retired from that, Chris. I'm retired from that. And the problem is, it's not hard to see what quality is in your search terms report. It's like the easiest part of Google Ads. It's either, and don't talk to me about high funnel and middle funnel and broad keywords converting. Don't talk to me about that until you're a year into your campaign and you have the good deep funnel keywords dialed in at the cost per lead you want. Okay. That's not the stuff for this episode. Quality is quality. And yes, you want to get it to be the quality you want for your specific strategies. But unless you're at a level of Google Ads where you are running specific strategies on different parts of the funnel, then quality is pretty definable. And that's people deep in the funnel looking for exactly what you offer. And if you're a few months into your Google Ads campaign and that's not what you're getting, I don't think you're doing it right. What do you think about that, Chris? Don't tell me quality is not quality. I'm so sick of hearing that quality.
I don't even know where we are anymore. I mean, I still.
Are we out of your box?
Yeah, I still think priority number 2 is quality of traffic, and I still say it's subjective. I'm sorry, you had a million words.
I don't think it's subjective. I don't think it's subjective. Do you want to be showing up on this search or not? Is this search going to lead to business or not?
Yes. Because
it doesn't have to be subjective.
I have some clients that want to show up on high funnel, cheap traffic, and that's quality for them. I have others that want to be bottom of funnel, and that's quality for them.
We're missing something here, and I don't like rule number 3.
Okay, well, let's get to it then. But before I do that, I want to remind you guys about optio.com/PSP. That is the URL and the only URL that you can use to get the best Google Ads management software on the planet for 8 weeks for $0. That's the deal we've been running, and we're only going to be running that until you sign up, John. I mean, I don't know what the heck your problem is, but we've been doing this show a long time. You've been listening all these years, John, and you're not signing up. So again, John, the URL is optio.com/PSP. We're waiting for you.
Okay, Chris. So we're gonna title this section the 2 third rules of Google Ads management, because I will not agree to have your rules here be the third rule.
Okay, let me lay out my case.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You better admit I'm right when I bring up something to the table here. You better admit I'm right.
I love these kind of shows.
If you don't, it's just disgusting, quite frankly.
I'm going to chop that pineapple down. I'm going to chop the crown right off that pineapple. and then drink the sweet inside. Okay. Priority number 3 is
don't tell me this.
segments. Okay. Segmentation of the
God.
data.
Oh
So you
my
get
God.
into, you've done your bids.
Mm-hmm.
You've done your quality of traffic for whatever the heck we've decided that is now. But anyway, you're now happy with the quality
Clearly,
of traffic.
it's subjective down to the user. Is that what I just said?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No, I don't. You said I don't
what
know
did you
exactly.
say? Okay, go ahead.
So now you can start focusing on the secondary bid levels of Google Ads. You can start looking at devices. You can start looking at ad schedule, audiences, demographics, locations, things like that. You can start itemizing these things and analyzing, okay, how are the locations performing? Which devices could I potentially adjust? Now, the point of the whole show, Jason, is to say that these 3 things should not be out of order. So, just going to the core of the show, do you think, I don't think you disagree with me here. You don't think that segmentation bids or anything like that should be above quality of traffic?
Of course not. No, of course not. No.
Okay, so to be very clear for those listening, that is not something that you should be doing. You should not be looking at devices and ad schedule if you don't have the right kind of quality of traffic. If you don't have your bids and your budget set, if those are waffling back and forth and going crazy, that is not where you want to be.
Okay.
Segmentation is extremely powerful because you can make decisions about, if you're B2B. I do a lot of B2B business, and I can tell you computers are very important, but I don't want to make that decision until I at least have the quality of traffic nailed down.
Talking about devices.
Devices.
Yeah.
Is that what I said? Oh, yeah. Sorry. I said
computers. No, computers versus mobile, showing where you're at.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Jason, I'm very curious. What would you...
My 3rd rule of Google Ads management? Yeah. So, I'm very curious how you're going to respond to this.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Okay.
That segments...
Well, thanks, guys, for listening to the show. We will be...
We can end it there. I would advise you to end it there if I were you.
Okay, here we go.
Of course, and I agree with you, segments and segmenting that data and making decisions on devices, demographics, ad schedule, locations, and all the things you can do inside of a Google Ads account. Search partners versus the Google Search Network.
Yes.
All that stuff. Super important. But the question is, how do you judge how those 2 things, how those various segments are working? How do you judge their performance? And the answer is the 3rd rule of Google Ads management, which is to get your conversion tracking in place.
But
watch them wiggle. Watch them squirm.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to squirm a little because this is about management. I'm not talking about metrics. I'm talking about actions that you can take. You can't take the action of getting conversions.
Yeah, okay.
You get conversions. I feel like you reached outside the box and brought in a stranger in our couple here, and now there's 3 of us, and it's weird.
Thruple?
Yeah. I didn't know that word. I'm glad you knew it.
You didn't know about thruple?
The only person I've ever heard say it is you, and I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Google it.
I'm not going to do that.
Chris, I mean, I feel strongly about this. I think conversions are so powerful, and I think they're so much more powerful these days because it's not just a search terms game anymore. Back in the day when we had control over search terms more than we do now, when we could see every search term, which we can't do now, and when we had control, when our freaking ad copy did not influence the searches that we show up on, which is, days. I love it, but it's a weird, strange world we live in now. When we were not having to deal with all that, then you could just look at the search terms and go, oh yeah, I know the search term's going to bring in more leads than this other one because that's the way it works. But in today's era, I need that crutch. I need those bumpers on my bowling lane. And what came first, the elk or the antlers?
What?
Look over your right shoulder. That is kind of a good one. What did come first, the antlers or the elk? Like
that? No, you can't reinvent chicken and the egg. That's the only one that works. I mean, you could say bird in the egg, I guess, or do you think lizard in the egg?
Yeah,
but
now, Chris, I mean, seriously. I mean, seriously,
right.
I'm so I'm just tired of the conversations. I really am, of like, hey, we think mobile's working better, or hey, we think this landing page is working better than the website, or hey, we think the top income's working better. Like, I really, those conversations are so guiding you to just nowhere land. And I really, really just want results. I want people to make money, and I want businesses to grow, especially in an economy like this where people are scared and tightening up and they're worried. I want people to have confidence in their advertising. And I think, and listen to my words carefully, Chris, I'm not talking about conversion tracking. I'm talking about rule number 3 is getting all of your conversion tracking in place correctly. Like, no holes and no loops here, because you really can track all sources of leads. And I was going to say something about different features on sites, but I'm not going to go down that road, that are hard to track by conversion tracking, that may not be doing much for you, but we're just not going to talk about that. But Chris,
I think you're
the
right.
one, I'm going to give you an out here. Like, I'm bowling with bumpers, so therefore I'm going to give you an out, and I'm going to let your little out be that, well, the stuff that you do once you have perfect conversion tracking in place, or accurate conversion tracking, fully accurate conversion tracking in place, is that then you do make these decisions.
Yes.
That come with segmenting your data. But if I'm not giving you an out, I'm saying that's rule number 4. If I'm giving you an out, we can say it's a co-rule number 3. But the truth is, the truth is the egg came before. No, the truth is the egg came before the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And then the truth is that conversion tracking comes before segmenting out your data, because what the heck is the point of segmenting out your data if you don't have conversion tracking? It just is the truth, Chris. And you're like a great guy. You're not a perfect guy. I'm not a perfect guy. No one's perfect. And you got this one wrong. And I think you're a reasonable guy, so I think you'll admit that here on the show publicly. Did you get it wrong? Have you been a bad boy? Do you want to say you're sorry?
No, I did not get it wrong. Like I said, you reached outside the box of management. Setting up conversions is not an active management thing. It is a singularity setup.
Oh, it definitely is a singularity thing. Singularity. I wonder why Larry's still single. A singularity thing.
It's a.
How you doing out there, Larry? A singularity thing.
I can't. Okay.
Why can't Larry smells? That's why he can't get a date. It's a singularity thing.
Singularity.
Larry interrupts when he has a conversation.
How do you say it? Say it right.
It's a singularity thing. Singularity. I can't say that
no.
word, Chris. But I'm man enough to admit it here, Chris. You're not man enough to admit that you got priorities 3 and 4 mixed up, and that's why you're lucky you do a show with me. And I'm lucky I do a show with you, because we check each other. We make each other better here, Chris.
Conversion setup is part of the setup. It's not management.
It's management. People change websites on you. Codes fall off.
No, that's setup part 2.
Conversion tracking is so fundamental to success in Google Ads these days.
This is a good checklist.
Constant.
This is the perfect 3 rules for management, ongoing management. Conversion tracking is not ongoing management.
No, because if you're just going to start assuming everything's in place, and let's just assume search terms are perfect. Let's just assume this is the budget we should be running, and we should look at search impression share lost due to budget.
No, I'm
not.
No.
Chris, what did I just say about the pineapple?
Contrary.
No, I don't. No, are you not listening to me? I have a problem being contrary, Chris, and I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. You should be happy. I'm working on it.
You're doing great.
No, Chris, I'm not going to let you do this to me, Chris. I'm not going to let you do this to me. I'm not going to go along to get along. I told you I was retired from that, and I just will not accept that rule number 3 should be segmenting out your data and looking at the data over rule number 4 in your world, which is conversion tracking. Or it's not even a rule, which is just nuts. And I'm right. And your Q score would be so much higher if you would just accept it and admit you're wrong sometimes.
My lack of words does not imply that you're correct. It's just because I use fewer words to make my point. And my point does not need the backup of a million words. It just needs
So let's say you look at that segment data and you've never, because I'm just managing. I don't do conversion. I'm just managing. And you never took the time to realize that you're only tracking calls from ads. Then you're making bad decisions, Chris. Oh, you're going to hit something? You feel better? It's not as funny when you do it. It's just flat. There's no sound, just no crashing. Yeah. Your timing's off. Don't do that. That's not you. You work it out in CrossFit and on Goldfish, and lately you've been doing more of the stress management on CrossFit than the goldfish, but we see you yo-yo, we see you go up and down on those
Yeah,
goldfish.
it happens.
Yeah. You tell yourself, I'm just going to get one fistful, just one
That's it.
fistful for a snack. I'm going to be reasonable. I'm going to put it in my bowl.
No, we don't buy it.
But then you go back for more because you can't control yourself. That's why you don't
buy
buy
it
it
at the house.
Yeah. Because
My
it's a
wife won't.
totally separate thing. It's not even part of this management. It's a totally separate thing. Conversion tracking. Are you out of your mind, Chris?
Okay. That is, I'm exhausted. That's all I have to say.
No. I'm going to give you an out here. I'm going to give you an out. Chicken or the egg. What good is conversion tracking if you don't do something with it? And I get your point here that it's not just about search terms. It's not just about conversion tracking. It's not just about your bidding. There's so many nooks and crannies of a Google Ads account that you can get explosive performance from. Chris, incomes, ages, I mean, we don't do it a lot because we leave our audiences typically on observation. Relax, buddy. I'm looking at the clock here. Relax. I'm just trying to give you an out here and go through the reasoning. But there's so many times where like we leave our audiences on observations and we don't decide to just target one or two audiences with our keywords. But depending on the size of your keyword base, like what kind of industry you're advertising in and how big your budget could be, like Chris, I do a lot of local service businesses. Usually there's not a lot of budget that we're missing. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty fixed market. There's only so many people in Biloxi, Mississippi searching for a moving company on that day. But if you're advertising for like a B2B software and you're targeting the grand United States all over the country and your budget is $3,000 a month and the actual volume you could be spending is like $30,000 a month, you've got your pick of the corner where you want to show up on the pick of the market, and you could just target one or two audiences with your keywords, and that's all you do. You could just target a certain income. You can just target a very small location, and you actually could do really, really a lot better depending on how that data performs, including, let me just run one more by you, Chris, here. Device bidding. Do you find yourself, and Chris, I want to do a little show within a show here because I want to come back together. I want to make a little love. I want to just I want to apologize to you. I mean, I went hard, you went hard, but I really feel strongly about conversion. And you told me that's what you wanted. You told me you like the punishment, you like the pain. So you said before the show, you said don't go easy on me.
I liked the debate, not the railroad.
The railroad. What railroad are you talking about?
The railroad of words.
Yeah, maybe if you had something to come back with conversion tracking.
But I did. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, so Chris, let me ask you seriously, because I want to give an example of how powerful your rule number 3 could be, your segments could be. Seriously, how powerful could it be? And I'm asking you for your genuine advice here. Have you found yourself in spots where, because the way the website is set up, because of the kind of industry you're advertising on, the computer performance at the device level is drastically different than the mobile device performance at the device level? Computer versus mobile, desktop versus mobile. Some cases one's really better than the other. Some cases the other one's really better. Have you found yourself in spots where you either are tempted or fully have turned off one of the devices and totally spent your full budget on just one device?
Yes.
Have you done that recently?
Yes.
And was everything okay?
Yes.
Okay. I have found myself being tempted to do that more and more because I am seeing in some spots a very, very clear distinction between the performance, and I don't want to play games anymore. I just want to spend the full budget that we can spend on the best performing device and not really wonder, why is most of the conversions coming from this device? I just want to get those conversions. Do you think that's valid?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're on the campaign view and you segment by devices, you can actually see your search impression share by device in that view. So I can actually see my mobile search impression share.
I'm going to get you a hammer, the man with the hammer. Everything is a nail. You love search impression share.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the best metric.
No, in this case, you're right. Could we spend our full budget on just mobile?
Could you spend? If I'm at 20% search impression share on device, then that tells me that I have tons of potential because I might have 70% on computer, and I realize, oh wow, I have tons more I can get on mobile.
And I would say that shows you the power of not only the segments, but the power of conversion tracking, because you can get those powerful insights. And then it takes a very skilled and disciplined manager to go with the numbers and say, no, you know what? It feels a little weird to turn off desktop, but you know what? I'm going with the numbers. And when you have confidence in your numbers, confidence with the conversion tracking, that's when you can actually make like all-star decisions like that and go, no, we only have a fixed pool budget. We can spend it all on this better performing device. Let's do it. And I'm confident in that data because I have the data. That's my point. That's all my point is, Chris.
Yeah.
That's all my point is with conversion tracking. I didn't mean to railroad you, Chris. I don't know if you want a little EV, a little speedster, little roadster. What do you want me to drive next time, Chris? I'm not trying to railroad anybody here, Chris. I'm trying to pursue a great podcast here with you. Yeah. You know?
Okay. So segments. So the last priority number 3 is segments based on conversion data.
And that's all I'm asking for. I just want a little influence on conversion tracking, because I can't live in a world where the 3 rules of Google Ads management don't include conversion tracking, because I don't want to live in that world, Chris, because it's so easy to make that mistake. It's a little hard to work with your developer. You know, you send them the code, put this code in the head section of all pages. You get paid professionally to do this. I'm confident you can just copy code and then go to the head section of the page.
You're not going to get this
pages
wrong
on the site,
surely,
and then hit Command V and paste it in there. Like I could do it myself if I knew how to get to a head section of the website. I don't, but you do, because you get paid professionally to do this, and then you go back and forth 15 times, and then you end up just getting analytics on the site and doing the new conversion tracking with Google Ads, which is pretty cool, and say track when people land on this page. But Chris, it's so easy not to deal with conversion tracking, that, and people just, they want to ramp up and run, and I get it, but it's so powerful, Chris. It's powerful that I just wanted to have a little respect in your top 3 rules. That's all I want.
Okay. Well, you're welcome, I guess. If you guys would like to place your vote on who won, you can go to chrisschaefer.com, fill out the contact form, and let me know that you thought I won. And Jason, where do they go if they want to let you know?
I don't like this conflict, Chris. I really am. I try to be a pineapple. I'm more of a sponge. You know, I'm more of a pomegranate. I'm more of a
I don't identify as fruit of any kind. I'm just more.
I'm trying to think of a fruit without a peel.
I identify as a steak.
You're a steak, yeah.
Yeah, you're a fruit.
When's the last time you went to a steakhouse?
Oh, Jason.
Yeah.
I cook my steak at home.
I know, but when's the last time you went to a steakhouse?
I don't know. A couple months ago, I guess.
What'd you order?
A steak.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because in my house, we talk about Chris Schaefer and
orders chicken at a steakhouse.
Yeah. Well, it was a little worse than that. My wife, we were talking about your affinity for cars with lots of miles on them.
Oh, yes.
And my affinity for cars with 0 miles on them.
Yeah.
And I was telling my wife why we should get a new car, not a used car, because you can take used cars to the extreme, like some people I know. And the quote out of her mouth was, "Oh, please, you don't even have to tell me. I lost all respect for Chris Schaefer when I heard he ordered chicken at a steakhouse."
I think I told that story like a year or 2, like a long time ago.
Early. Yeah.
My gosh. Early. And that was,
I talk about you a lot, Chris. I told another friend about just the way you handle vehicles and being very disciplined.
So focused on that.
Well, it's been a big thing in my life. We got a new car.
I know you got new vehicles. Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
We're selling one today through Carvana. They're coming to the house and picking it up. I encourage everyone to look up Carvana if you're interested in that. Full disclosure, I guess I'm a shareholder. So, but Chris, I was telling them about this, and they're a little old school, a little frugal, and they were saying, "Good for him. Good for him."
So,
yeah, you got it. Good for him. Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah, it's probably somebody very based and focused on their future and getting the most out of their purchases.
I mean, we're doing a show here. I don't know if you want to go on record with what your mileage is.
Hey, you don't have to. You add up both the mileages on my 2 vehicles, and you're almost at 500,000, which is, I'm getting the quality. I'm getting so much quality out of my vehicles. I'm getting every ounce of what I paid for.
You know what's interesting? I work from home, Chris.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I work from home, and Yeah. So work from home. I'm wondering, the vehicle I got a couple of years ago, Subaru Ascent, very
Yeah.
reasonable, but very nice luxury.
Very. I like the seats. I loved the video that you sent of your.
Oh, that was
your
a new
vehicle.
one. We got a minivan.
Yeah, that was the new one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I will ever get for the rest of my life, if I will ever put on the amount of miles on my. If I forget my current vehicle, if I will ever drive from this point on as many miles as your two cars have combined right now. I think there's a good chance not.
You've got a young family, Jason. Yeah. Soon your wife will be just another taxi driver like my wife is, and putting them all around to their different activities, and you'll watch that mileage go up, and you'll be there.
Okay. Just not in the same car.
Just not in the same car. No, you'll buy another one. Have to add them together.
Chris, I hate this conflict. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it, Chris.
I'm more upset.
I hate it
that that I can't sit down yet. I'm tired.
You can sit down. I miss you, Chris. I feel like we should be doing a second show, to be honest. I feel like we should do a little after show of every episode and put it out there. Do people want that? They should leave a comment.
We already did that and canceled it.
But I know, but I miss you, Chris. I miss you, and I don't like this conflict. You feel strongly about segments. I feel strongly about conversion tracking. I don't like rules. I think everything's flexible. You like rules. You like boxes. No goldfish in my house. That's a rule.
Yeah, I can't handle it. There's no self-control. Jason.com?
No,
what is it?
PaidSearchPodcast.com. I want the unity here. I want to promote the podcast. I want to promote peace and love. And we didn't promote it earlier. So we have the YouTube channel, and then we have PPC Daily that's out there, where we take segments from the show where we don't talk about goldfish. We don't talk about car mileage. We talk about
just the basics.
Search impression sharing and quality score. And all we do is talk about quality score on those segments. Enjoy that.
Yeah, super fun. Thanks, guys. We'll be back next week.